Christian Bale was preparing for his role in American Psycho, dressing the part, hitting the gym, getting his teeth redone. There was just one problem. He didn't actually have the part. Leonardo DiCaprio did. What Went Wrong is a podcast dedicated to the idea that every movie is a miracle. Join Lizzie Bassett and Chris Winterbauer every other week as they unearth the chaos and humanity behind Hollywood's biggest flops and most shocking successes. They aren't here to dunk on your favorite films. They're here to celebrate movies. As the New York Times said, they're movie industry people who truly love films and the people who make them. Listen to What Went Wrong wherever you get your podcasts.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Skims or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/income.
Our Patreon supporters made their voices loud and clear. This week, we're diving deep into Digital Underground's unforgettable 1990 hit, The Humpty Dance. While some know the group solely for this quirky classic, others recognize frontman Shock G as one of hip-hop's most innovative figures. We explore the genius behind the Sex Packets album concept, the alter ego of Humpty Hump, and the song's lasting influence on both music and pop culture. From its iconic samples to its role in launching Tupac's career, this episode celebrates the funky, unpredictable, and endlessly entertaining world of Digital Underground.
I like my oatmeal lumpy, I'm sick with this. Straight gangsta Mac. But sometimes I get ridiculous. I'll eat up all your crackers and your licorice. Oh, yo, fat girl, come here, are you ticklish?
One hit is all you need to make the money guaranteed, and you can live off royalties forever.
And it makes me wonder, is it just a wonder, or is it one-hit thunder? So Matt, once again, it's one of those episodes where, how did it take us this long? But the Patreon supporters of One Hit Thunder said, no more. It is time to talk about the Humpty Dance.
Humpty Dance, Digital Underground.
Yeah.
You know, I had a friend, we were talking about Digital Underground years ago, and he said something to me that has always stuck out. And then seeing how much this group came up in the research makes a lot of sense. But he once told me Digital Underground is the George Clinton and the P-Funk All-Stars of rap music. And man, is that an accurate way to describe what the Digital Underground was in that era of music, because it was real funky. It was a cast of crazy characters, a big like live band playing instruments with like backup vocals. And then as their albums went on, George Clinton's like doing collaborations with them. Like they really were the P-Funk All-Stars.
Yeah, that makes sense. But when I think of Digital Underground, I obviously am thinking of Humpty Hump, a.k.a. Shock G.
And a little bit of me is also thinking about the iconic movie Nothing But Trouble, in which Digital Underground shows up with a young Tupac Shakur to sing arguably their second most famous song, All Around the World, same song.
You know, I never saw that movie.
You just shouldn't. It's not good. It's a really bad movie, but it is noteworthy for having Tupac Shakur in it as a backup vocalist in a scene.
And we'll get to the Tupac of it all.
We'll get to the Tupac of it all. But I will say up front that I truly think that even towards the end, I think Tupac had a lot of respect for this group that kind of gave him a start.
Yeah.
Even when he went in a totally different genre of hip hop, I think it never seemed like he was ashamed of his beginnings with Digital Underground, which is really cool.
And he shouldn't be. And I got to ask you, Matt, there's a lot of like rap groups and artists that we've done episodes on where you're like, I have every one of their albums.
I have a lot of Digital Underground records. Yeah.
Okay.
I have at least 3 or 4 of their records. Because this album, Sex Packets, like, this is kind of a crazy move, right? They put out a debut album that is a concept album. Mm-hmm. And like, with the exception of Do What You Like and Humpty Dance, which were like singles before the record came out that got them signed, like, it follows this really weird do you know anything about the concept of Sex Packets?
I didn't before getting ready for this episode, but now I read about it. Yeah, I didn't know that it was a concept album.
Yeah, it's this concept of like a future where instead of like a drug pusher selling you drugs, they sell you these things called sex packets, which is like a guaranteed wet dream where you can choose the specifics of like what the experience will be. Like, you can buy a packet that's like a girl to your exact requests. Yeah. And like about people becoming addicted to this to the point that like no one wants to go out and meet real people. And this is a pre-internet stage where it's like they are kind of predicting what the dating world would be one of these days, and like what the internet age of like porn at at your fingertips would become.
Dude, between this, that concept, and then take it a couple decades later, like the movie Her. Yeah. Now, take these things and take VR and then take sex robots, okay? Mm-hmm. I mean, do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
Keep going, actually.
let me finish. That someone could have a connection, like the AI, I hate, whatever. AI's here whether we like it or not. And AI could get developed to a point where you could have like a sort of intellectual relationship with an AI, like in the movie Her. Yeah. And then the physical side of it, you could have this robot and VR or whatever to like do sex stuff or whatever. Yeah. So you have both elements. I would obviously err on the side of like, this is a bad thing for society, but is it? If you have people in the world who feel so lonely.
I mean, if you're asking, do I think that it could stop incel behavior?
Yes.
Possibly. Like, okay. I think that in its set, like, look, anything that's bad for the most part still can serve a good purpose. It's definitely for people smarter than our knowledge base. But like, I also err on the side of like, I don't think the solution to incel behavior is less human connection with people either. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really, really fucking tough conversation that I think it's funny that we're talking about it with Digital Underground, a group that mostly was like, I love that their beginnings. Well, let's get one thing out there right now. As much as Digital Underground is a band, mm-hmm. It is Gregory Jacobs, yes. AKA Shock G.
Yes.
Like
AKA
everybody
Humpty
else,
Hump.
Everybody else around him, like he has a good, but to me, like when Shock G died, if Digital Underground is still touring, I don't know if they are. If they are, that's not Digital Underground to me. No. You know what I mean? Like it is Shock G. That is the brainchild of all of this. Yeah. And it said, I was reading that like, when he first started the group, he wanted to have like this militant Black Panther thing, and then like Public Enemy exploded. Yeah. And he kind of just went for the complete opposite and was like, let's just go for something like really out there. And like, I think the word I saw was whimsical. Like whimsical is a great way to describe Digital Underground.
Right. And I gotta say, Shock G, when he's in the I don't know if Shock G is necessarily a character. It's one of his rap alter ego for Gregory Jacobs. He's got a cool delivery and a cool voice. Like he's a good rapper. And I'll go even further. The Humpty Hump alter ego, that too is such a unique nobody sounds like that.
No.
You know, when he's doing the Humpty Hump character, he's still a good rapper, and like you're gonna know who it is in one line. So imagine being, I don't know, an artist, a band, whatever at this time, and getting a feature from Humpty Hump. I would be like, hell yeah, I want a feature from Humpty Hump. He sounds so cool.
So there's a song on, I'm not sure how much of Sex Packets you listen to, but the last song on the album is called Packet Man.
Uh-huh.
And it's Shock G playing a drug dealer named the Packet Man, selling a sex packet to Humpty Hump.
Yeah.
And throughout the track, he is switching back and forth between the two personas in a conversation. And like, it seems smooth. It seems flawless. But also, like, if you didn't already know that those were the same guy, you would believe that they were two different rappers having a back and forth in the studio. Like, he is able to create two very different personas.
Yeah.
In that performance. And yeah, like you said, no one sounds like Humpty Hump. I mean, this was probably one of the earliest rap songs I loved. Like, this was a song that I learned every word to. And this was like, you know, you have like those rap song party tricks. It's like, I can do every word to the Humpty Dance by memory still to this day. And it's like a 7-minute long song. There's a lot of words to know in this song.
I wonder if Shock G, now I'm sure there's rap historians who are going to go, it was this person, but I wonder if Shock G was one of the first people to have, he has more than one character. He has multiple characters within the same song. Then you look at the rappers that would come decades later, Eminem. He definitely has multiple voices. Kendrick Lamar has so many different voices he raps. And you're like,
I think
so many.
The only earlier one I could think of was maybe Slick Rick. Because I feel like Slick Rick, because he would be such a storyteller rapper, maybe not that he had different personas, but he would like alter his voice to do like conversations between like himself talking to a girl, and he would be voicing like both of those characters.
Right.
Or, I mean, we talked about Positive K.
Yeah, that's right. I think this might have been before Positive K, though.
Possibly, yeah. It was either before or at the
before.
exact same time. But I mean, this song is a banger. And I want to jump a little ahead because later on, they put out an album and it features a song called the Humpty Dance Awards. And this was 3 years after the Humpty Dance came out. And what it was a song making fun of how many people sampled their drum beat from the Humpty Dance.
Yeah.
And I read this whole breakdown of how this drum beat was constructed, which I do not feel like we are on a level where we can talk about it on this show. But it is essentially that they pieced together 5 different samples to create this very specific drum beat that you hear throughout the back of the song. I want to run down a list of rappers and artists who have sampled just the drum beat from Humpty Dance. And it was sampled by Redman, Public Enemy, TLC, The Spice Girls, Tupac, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, Ice Cube, Heavy D and the Boys, Shaquille O'Neal, Jay-Z, and the most famous one, LL Cool J sampled this for Mama Said Knock You Out. The drum beat of Mama Said Knock You Out is the Humpty Dance beat.
Wow. That's awesome, man. And don't forget about the bass in this song. This is the famous a do rear, a do rip, a do rear, a do rip. And yes, I am doing it in the voice of Coach Z from Homestar Runner, who famously would do that impression in some early Homestar Runner cartoons. And I mean, it's that too is so recognizable. So there's a lot about this song that is like, I don't know, historic and iconic in the world of rap music.
Did you read about the fictional biography of Humpty Hump?
No.
Okay, so there was like a fictional biography, I think it was inside the liner notes, that explained that the guest rapper on the Humpty Dance, Humpty Hump, was a man born under the name Edward Ellington Humphrey III, and that he was the former lead singer for Smooth Eddie and the Humpers. but he became a rapper after he burned his nose in a kitchen accident involving a deep fryer, and now wears a pair of Groucho Marx sunglasses to cover up the terrible burn scars on his face.
Okay.
But that's your origins of Humpty Hump. And that's how we would explain off the goofy outfit and stuff, was like, oh, he got severely scarred.
Wow.
And now he's a rapper because of it.
That's so creative.
It's so creative. And I love that this song at its core is a song about a dance. And it's also just a song about how much Humpty Hump fucks.
Well, let me say that that's what we all assume. And of course, there's the very famous "I once got busy in a Burger King bathroom" line, which, okay, obviously that's what they're getting at. But you do know that humpin' had like another meaning, which basically was like another way to say bumping, like we're dancing here. Things are bumping here, humping. And it didn't necessarily mean humping how we've all come to know
know it, but yeah. But yeah, I mean, listen, do you remember the steps for the Humpty dance? Do you remember how it's instructed to be done?
I have this picture in my mind of the way he's dancing in the music video, but
you don't remember what it tells you in the lyrics on how to do it?
No, tell me.
So first you step to the side like your leg was broken, shaking and twitching kind of like you were smoking crazy rap funky. Make them say you look like MC Hammer on crack, Humpty. But it's basically just that you move your body all over the place. I think he describes it as looking like you're having a fit of convulsions.
Okay.
But yeah.
Sure.
I mean, at the end of the day, you can't do the dance as a line dance because he says no two people will do it the same. You got it down when you look like you're in pain.
I like it. Anybody could do it. Like, that's as easy as it gets. You know that I still, to this day, want to write that song where it's instructions on how to do some sort of dance. I will do. That's on my bucket list of things I want to do.
Hey, it's Jonathan London of the Geekscape podcast, and I want to tell you all about the first official Geekscape comic book, Paul London, Hero of the Prophecy. This is equal parts sci-fi fantasy, comedic adventure, and pro wrestling entertainment told in a nostalgic style. If you're a fan of 80s films like Conan the Barbarian, Krull, Willow, The Beastmaster, and comedic mistaken identity movies like The Army of Darkness, Three Amigos, and Galaxy Quest, you're gonna love Paul London, Hero of the Prophecy. That's right, I wrote it about my younger brother Paul London, former WWE Cruiserweight and Tag Team Champion. But in this story, he's now washed up, down on his luck, and then magically transported across the universe to a distant planet of sword and sorcery. Once there, he's mistaken to be the hero of the prophecy, destined to free an entire kingdom from the evil sorcerer Ramzar. This is 26 pages of full-color pro wrestling fantasy comic book adventure. Podcast listeners, this is a comic for you. Go to herooftheprophecy.com to learn more. Paul London, Hero of the Prophecy.
This song, The Humpty Dance, peaked at number 11 on June 2nd of 1990. Can you imagine a better time of year than the first week of like unofficial summertime for this jam?
Chris, beyond that, beyond the fact that early summer is the perfect time for this song, I just want to talk about the top 5. Yeah. Is there a better top 5 for a summer playlist than what came out this month, which was number 5, Belle Biv DeVoe, Poison.
Oh,
perfect summer jam.
Dude, Poison and Humpty Dance both were at their peak at the same exact time. Could you imagine that summer?
It's an insane summer. Number 4, Janet Jackson, All Right.
Yeah. Oh.
Number 3, because sometimes you got to slow it down a little bit, Wilson Phillips, Hold On, which like you put that shit on at the pool, people are singing along. Like you're having a good ass time by the pool.
And 3-part harmony.
Another ballad, but a banger of a ballad, Heart, All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You.
Yeah, for when you see that stranger by the side of the road and you really want to fuck him.
Yeah. And then number 1, keeping the dance party going, Madonna Vogue.
Oh, yeah.
Like this I'm just saying, those 5 songs plus Humpty Dance, that's a hell of a pool playlist right there.
And Matt, don't forget at number 9 right at this moment, You Can't Touch This from MC Hammer.
Okay, so I wrote down a couple other ones that I wanted to mention. I'm curious if we have the same ones.
Yeah.
Because I also wrote down, did you write down what was that, number 13?
Oh, yeah. Turtle Power. Turtle Power by Partners in Crime.
From the Ninja Turtles Out of Their Shells album that came out at that time.
I had that.
I Want to Be Rich by Calloway was on the charts at this time. Don't Want to Fall in Love by Jane Child was at this time. The Power by Snap was at this time. People were dancing their asses off in the summer of 1990.
She Ain't Worth It by Glenn Medeiros featuring Bobby Brown. Do you know this song?
I don't, but I mean, if it's featuring Bobby Brown, I'll listen to it.
The Girl Ain't Worth It. Definitely dancing to that. And if you want to suddenly ruin the party and never dance for the rest of the summer, pop on what's at number 7, what we consider to be the greatest song we ever did on One Hit Thunder. Nothing Compares to You from Sinead O'Connor.
Yep. Man, we wrote down almost the exact same things on our list. The only other thing I had to write down was that the Matt's pick for noteworthy debut that week was at 73 with Mariah Carey's Vision of Love.
Yeah, so one spot higher than that, Matt, was Motley Crue's Don't Go Away Mad.
Yeah, no, none of the other debuts, I think, were songs that stayed in the public conscience.
Yeah.
But I mean, this song, the beyond the sample heaviness of this song, like the Humpty Dance has been like constantly ranked as like great, so not just great rap songs, but like great songs. It's in the 1,000 songs you should hear before you die. It's on Rolling Stone's 500 greatest songs of all time. It was even nominated for the best rap video at the 1990 MTV Music Awards. It lost to MC Hammer's You Can't Touch This, which, look, I love the Hammer. This should have beaten that.
Yes.
Also nominated was Young MC's Principal's Office, which no one remembers that song, so certainly that shouldn't have won. But I may have actually given it to the other nominee, which was Biz Markie's Just a Friend. I might put Just a Friend over the Humpty Dance. Maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
In 1990, almost definitely. Right now, it's like kind of neck and neck because they're great for different reasons. But
such classics.
It's a great song. And like the career of this band is like nothing to be ashamed of. You know what I mean? Like, I love that around 1998, they put out the album.
Ahead too far here.
Okay. Let's start with their. I mean, how much do you love the follow-up to Sex Packets is an EP simply titled "This Is an EP Release"?
Yeah, it went gold. And dude, that's 2 songs on it: "Tie the Knot" and "Same Song," which were both in that Nothing But Trouble movie, which I don't know, but we got to talk about "Same Song" because that's where Tupac made his debut. And already on that song, if you listen to it, it's already Tupac has his voice. You know, and I mean that in like every way you can mean that. The actual quality of his voice, but also like you could tell that this guy, you know, I don't know, there was just something special about it.
Listen, when you watch the scenes where they perform in the movie Nothing But Trouble, this is like no one knows who Tupac is at this point in time. But even watching it, your like eyes are drawn to him. Like there's such a charisma in Tupac in the music video, in that scene in the movie. And that song rules. Like that song, I was kind of shocked how little of an effect it actually made in the United States in general. Like I thought that would be one of those songs where I looked at it was like charted in like the 70s on the Hot 100, but it really never did anything outside of the dance charts. Because I think that song is as good as the Humpty Dance. Like I think it is a good, catchy, great song.
Well, speaking of that, as song that I thought was more popular than it was definitely popular, but also that I think is just as good, if not better than the Humpty Dance by Digital Underground, was on their second full length, which came out in 92 or so.
Yeah, the Sons of P.
Yeah. So they had a song called No Nose Job, but then The second single from that album is a song called Kiss You Back. That song went to number 40, so it did crack the top 40 in January of 1992. But do you know this song?
I do, yeah.
Kiss me and I'll kiss you back.
Yeah, it's a good song.
It's a really good song, and it features vocals by Bonnie Boyer, who was in Prince's Sign of the Times / Love Sexy band. And it's based on the Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Pop song, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I really think that this band, I mean, we're not speaking out of turn here. I think that if you're talking to any hip hop heads, like Digital Underground is a very respected group. I think that they're one of those bands where if you only know the Humpty Dance by this band, I could see a world where someone who already doesn't know much about rap just looks at them as like a really goofy band that like had a song in the 90s. But when you talk to people who are like really into rap, the respect for this group and specifically Shock G runs real deep, because like this is a word I don't throw around a lot on this show. We do every once in a while, but he was an innovator. He was a creative minded guy who like, I don't think that Digital Underground ever put out a record just to put out a record. Like I truly think even if it was for some abstract reason, Shock G was putting out records when he felt like he had something to say, whether it was something funny to say or something serious to say. Like you look at their releases and they're not like one of those bands where it's like, you know, we've looked at those bands where it's like they have a hit in 1990 and then it's like 1991 they have an album, 1993 they have an album, 1990 like they really spaced out some of their releases. They went 10 years between one release and another release, and I don't think they ever like broke up or anything. It was just Shock G was like doing other shit that he didn't think fell under the Digital Underground moniker. And I think that that's why people respected him, was that he knew what Digital Underground was supposed to be. It's kind of, I feel like you are very good at this. And I think that people who have a lot of other music projects, like as someone who listens to Punchline and listens to another Cheetah, like I've never heard another Cheetah song where I thought, oh, that could have been a Punchline song. Like you have a very good ear for like what songs belong under what monikers. And I think Shock G did that with hip hop, that it was like, this is what the sound of Digital Underground is. And these are the songs that I'm going to release under it. And if I'm going to do something that's not under that, I have to put it out as a solo record or under a different project.
Right. And of course, this was the launching pad for Tupac, who went on to become one of the most iconic and some people would argue the greatest rapper of all time. So,
and I'm pretty sure that Greg Jacobs like produced his first two records or something. I think they were very closely tied together in the beginning.
Certain songs. Yeah. I thought I had marked down what it was, but yeah, definitely was a Tupac producer on something. Right? I don't know if it was a whole album, but it was definitely at least on songs. Matt, do you want to test your knowledge a little bit?
Yeah, let's give this a shot.
So these are all Digital Underground related questions.
Oh man, this might be tough, but I'm ready.
There's 7 of them. You'll get 2 points if you get it without the multiple choice, and 1 if you get it with the multiple choice. There is a question where you'll have to get the multiple choice no matter what, so you'll get 2 even if you get that one.
Okay.
What's your target score here?
So there's up to 14 points possibly, right?
Theoretically, yes.
I'm going to say 9. I'm going to say that I get 9 points.
I like it. Okay. In addition to Shock G and Humpty Hump, Gregory Jacobs also had a third alias. What was it?
All right, I'm already going to go multiple choice on this one.
A, MC Blowfish. B, Big Daddy Shark Bite. C, Dolphin Boy. Or D, Shrimp Cocktail.
I think it's A or B. I'm going to go with B.
Sorry, Matt. It was A, MC Blowfish.
That's a good name, too.
Question 2. Dan Aykroyd. This is the one where you get the multiple choice no matter what, because it's...
Okay.
You'll see. You'll get 2 points if you get it, though.
If I can interrupt you and do it without multiple choice, can I get 3 points?
You're not going to be able to because you need to have the choices.
Okay. We'll see. I've watched Nothing But Trouble a couple times.
All right. Dan Aykroyd wrote the screenplay for Nothing But Trouble, which featured the music of Digital Underground. Which one of these movies was Dan Aykroyd not a screenplay writer on?
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Which one was he not a screenplay writer on? A, Ghostbusters 2. B, Dragnet. C, The Great Outdoors. Or D, Coneheads.
I'm pretty sure The Great Outdoors is the one he didn't write. That's a John Hughes script.
Good job, man. That's right. Yeah, John Hughes wrote that. Yeah. All right, 2 points. That's really good.
Yeah. No, listen. So I have a book that I've read. Probably I've read this book like 5 times called Wild and Crazy Guys. That's like
Right.
breakdowns of every early SNL comedian. And they really deep dive into Dan Aykroyd's screenplay writing career. So I knew that he wrote like the script for the first Ghostbusters was like 400 pages long.
Wow.
Like he's a very prolific writer that needs to be edited usually by somebody else. After
Gotcha.
that.
All right, question 3. Here's to answer one of our questions from earlier, Matt.
All right.
Shock G produced which Tupac single, which peaked at number 11 on the Hot 100 in 1993?
Okay. See, I'm as much as everyone loves Tupac, I know like the big like the later career like California Love changes Dear Mama era of Tupac. And I don't think Shock G was tied into that stuff. I think he was way more like that first Tupacalypse Now release. And I'm actively turning my phone around because I had just pulled up that Wikipedia page when I was trying to find out if Shock G produced that record. So I'm going to at least do the multiple choice and see if any of the song titles jump out at me.
Okay. Shock G produced which Tupac single, which peaked at number 11 on the Hot 100 in 1993? A, I Get Around. B, Keep Your Head Up. C, Dear Mama. Or D, How Do You Want It?
Fuck, I didn't think Dear Mama was that early. And that feels like something that Shock G would want to work on is Dear Mama. I'm gonna say A, I Get Around.
You got it. Wow.
Yes.
Jeez, you really pulled that one out of your ass.
Because I was like trying to think of songs that I know by Tupac and things that sound like Shock G, and that one felt the most like I could piece together the Digital Underground Shock G connection with that song.
And I Get Around sounds like something that, I mean,
Yes.
does he say that in the Humpty Dance? I get around?
I think he does. Yeah, that
I
was
get
also
around.
why.
I'm the new fool in town.
Down,
and the
yeah.
sound is laid down. Yeah. Okay. 3 points.
All right.
And we're on question 4. Speaking of humping, this artist hit number 3 on the Hot 100 in 1992 with Humpin' Around.
Ooh, I can get 2 points on this. Bobby Brown.
You got it. 5 points. Okay. Question 5.
Okay.
The Humpty Dance was used in a 2017 commercial for what? In which a hospitalized Humpty Dumpty hears the song and considers legal action.
I'm going to need the multiple choice on that, I think.
A, Geico. B, State Farm. C, TurboTax. Or D, LegalZoom.
You know what's the crazy part is like TurboTax jumped into my brain first when you asked this question, but I don't consider TurboTax like a thing that I use when pursuing legal action against somebody.
Well, it doesn't necessarily. That's just part of the commercial.
I know. I'm trying to think. Literally, if I was going to go without multiple choice, I was going to say TurboTax.
Maybe you should go with it.
I think I'm going to go with it. This is like on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire when they get upset that like one of their things that they were thinking is there. Yeah, you know what? Let's go for it. TurboTax. I'll be bummed if I get it wrong, and I'll also be bummed if I could have got 2 points for it.
It was TurboTax. So you got a point at least. You
I
could have
got
not
a
even
point,
got a
but
point.
man, I should have just went with my gut. I immediately was like, TurboTax. That's a TurboTax commercial.
You got 6 points, Matt.
All right.
2 questions left. Digital Underground's Kiss You Back features the refrain Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Pop, which was popularized in the 1959 song Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Bop by what group?
Fuck, I have no clue. Multiple choice.
A, the Drifters, B, the Penguins, C, Little Anthony and the Imperials, or D, Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers.
I think it's C.
You got it.
Yeah.
Good job. So
I just knew who the other 3 artists were, and it doesn't sound like them. So that was a process of elimination.
So you got 7 points and your goal is 9, right?
Yeah, I have to get this one without multiple choice to get my
Well,
goal.
here's the good news. I don't know if it's good news or bad news. This is one of the ones where you have to get the multiple choice. So
the
you
2
will
points.
get 2 points even with the multiple choice if you get this right.
All right, let's see if I can do this.
I'm a freak. I like the girls with the boom. I once got busy in a Burger King bathroom. Which one of these celebs has never been a celebrity spokesperson for Burger King?
Oh, God. Okay.
A, Shaquille O'Neal. B, John Goodman. C, Steven Tyler. Or D, John Hamm.
All right. I feel like Shaquille O'Neal probably was. That just seems like Shaq will do anything. John Goodman, I feel like, was probably a spokesman when they were doing the Flintstones movie tie-in. So now I'm trying to decide between if John Hamm did something or Steven Tyler. I feel like I would remember John Hamm being a Burger King spokesman. So I'm going to go with D, John Hamm.
You got it. 9
Yes!
points to hit your goal. That was good, man. Good job.
I mean,
Very
it would
good
have been. He's missing out. He could be John Hamburger for Burger King.
Yeah.
He could be the John Hamburger King. Get us in a meeting, Chris.
Yes, yes. John Hamm, get us on the phone. Burger King, get us on the other phone. We got to make the John Hamburger King happen. We at least got to make that meme.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, we were talking about shirts we might need to put on a potential T-Public. I think John Hamburger King is one.
When we sell a single John Hamburger King shirt.
I think we 1,000% will.
All right. Well, Matt, I guess we're here. Thunder or blunder or hinder or Greenwood.
Well, it's definitely not a hinder or Greenwood.
Yeah,
we
true.
can eliminate those two right out
Yeah.
the gate here. I do want to shout out something that I thought was pretty cool. Like, Digital Underground really helped out a lot of artists throughout their career, right? Did you catch that they had 2 songs in the movie Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood?
I did not.
And both of them, they collaborated with different artists. One of them was with Del the Funky Homo Sapien,
Okay.
who I love. And this would have been like early, like they didn't launch Del, but this was still early in Del. And the other one was with a group we've covered, the Loonies.
Oh, wow,
Did a
okay.
song with them. And then in 2000, or I keep saying 2000, in 1998, they put out the album Who Got the Gravy. And what's important about this was that it was in the middle of the East Coast, West Coast war, and Digital Underground is a West Coast band, but they pretty much exclusively invited New York rappers to be on their record to kind of like both squash that beef and also just kind of make fun of the idea of fighting about the coasts. And some of the rappers from New York that they had on are heavy hitters. They had Big Pun, they had Biz Markie, and they had KRS-One all show up on that record, which is, I mean, those are some big names in hip hop, especially in 1998. Those are not like strangers to the world of hip hop. I mean, it's the Humpty Dance. It's Digital Underground. They're so beloved. Of course, this is one of the easiest thunders we've had in 2025.
Yes, it's a pretty easy thunder, and we unfortunately cannot send Shock G a certificate that he's certified thunder. But I would like to think that Shock G knew.
Yeah. I think he knew that he was going to get thunder from our podcast one day. This has been One Hit Thunder. One Hit Thunder is hosted by Chris Fafalios of the band Punchline and produced by Matt Kelly of Geekscape.net. Underneath me, you're hearing Coldest of Calendars off the Punchline album Action. Make sure that you check out punchlion.com for any upcoming news on the band. Our podcast is on Patreon now. Find us at patreon.com/OHT podcast for early access to episodes, bonus conversations, and a chance to vote on future songs for us to cover. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on any podcasting app, and tune in next week for more One Hit Thunder.
I couldn't have it any better. Half the time I am alive just to see your smile. I'm cold inside.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.
Hey everyone, this is Tuck from Fit for a King, an off-road minivan. Every week I bring you fun interviews alongside your favorite metalcore entertainers with my new podcast, Get Tucked. Join me every Monday with bands like Counterparts, Crystal Lake, like Moths to Flames, and many more. We play unsigned and undiscovered bands, deep dive into each artist's history, and of course provide the greatest breakdowns in current metalcore. Tune in to Get Tucked every Monday, out now through Sound Talent Media.
The number you have reached is 100.7 WMMS.
It wasn't just a radio station, it was a lifestyle.
Cleveland is a rock and roll city for sure.
Get down! The Wrath of the Buzzard. WMMS. Cleveland.
The rise and fall of one of the most iconic radio stations in America. Profiles, The Wrath of the Buzzard, PROH Files. Subscribe now wherever you get podcasts.